Hi everyone, I'm Josh and welcome to Josh Wright Piano TV. Thanks so much for joining me today. Today I wanted to do a review on two outlier type piano benches. These are two benches that you may not have considered, but I think the uses are extremely valuable and I wanted to do a little review on these. PianoWorks was gracious enough to send these to me. As many of you may remember from a recent review I did, these are called Hidrau Model benches or Hidrau Model, a company from Spain. These are my favorite piano benches of any that I've ever tried. I've had Jansen benches, I've tried many other hydraulic benches, and these are by far my favorite. These two benches, this is the 20-inch stool, and this is the 43-inch Super Duet bench. And these are two benches you may not have considered before, but I think their uses are highly valuable, so I look forward to telling you about some of the specs, and then I'm gonna line up all four sizes of piano benches because I've purchased the 30-inch and the 26-inch, and now I have these other two to compare them to. So let's go ahead and dig into this review. Okay, the reason I like these benches is they have a very high adjustability. So this is all the way lowered. This little one only has handles on one side, so a little hydraulic handle. So this is the lowest. That's ridiculous. That's so high. You would never need to go that high unless you were very small. So my little 3-year-old daughter, she loves these benches because she can actually get high enough for the proper arm height, okay? And this is the 43-inch Super Duet bench, okay? And then this is the 26-inch that I'm sitting on, okay? So as you can see, that is a lot of adjustability. Some of the Jansen benches and other benches do not have that high of an adjustability. This really comes into play when you're talking about small children who need extra height. That's especially prevalent when you come to a lot of upright pianos. Grand pianos, for the most part, are fairly standard in their height, but a lot of upright pianos have several inches of play. So if you're at a particularly high upright piano key level, if the keys are a little higher than usual, or if they have them, or if you have a grand piano up on those caster wheels, especially in concert halls, grand pianos feel great with most regular adjustable benches, and then they put them up on those like 4 or 5-inch caster wheels, and even if you adjust the height all the way up, if you like anything higher than maybe mid-level bench, your bench is not going to adjust high enough. So that's one of the reasons I love these benches. Let's specifically get into why I like these two sizes and the various reasons I might choose these over a standard 26 and 30-inch bench. And by the way, if I was just to choose one bench, I probably would choose the 26 or the 30. If I was just a single person living alone, just practicing day in and day out, the 26 or the 32 are perfect. But let's talk about the uses why you may want to consider one of these. All right, I believe this is their full lineup of benches. Again, I've owned this one for 2 or 3 years now, holding up great. This is in the leather. You might notice this is a little bit shinier. Could possibly be that the leather ages differently over time. This is also much newer. I noticed the leather was not this shiny when I first got it. The rest of these are in vinyl. So the Super Duet 43-inch, this is the 30-inch, 26-inch, 20-inch. The 26, I'm gonna stand up, I might get cut off here. The 26 has 2 legs, as does the 30 and the 43-inch. However, the stool only has 1 leg here. So as you can see, however, it has a nice wide base of support. So it's not going to be super wobbly as you might imagine a one-legged bench might be because it spreads out that weight. The thing to remember with these benches is that when you typically see those big, bulky, adjustable benches, they have all the weight at the top of the bench. So they have to make them a lot wider, deeper, if you will. These are a lot skinnier. And I like that because that promotes good bench position for students. I always tell students you need to have your butt on the front half of the bench because that grounds your feet down into the floor a bit more. If you sit on a Jansen bench or any of these other benches that are kind of wide, they have to make them that wide so that they don't topple over when you stand up. You're going to notice that some students will sit all the way back with their butt parallel to the back edge of the bench. What that does, that shifts your body weight back and now you're playing with less balance. So this skinnier depth, even though it may not look as attractive as some of those big tufted beautiful benches, actually promotes a better posture. Let's jump over to the Super Duet. I want to show you how big it is first, and then we will go to the stool, the 20-inch stool. All right, this is the 43-inch Super Duet bench from Hidrau Model. Piano Works has labeled it as the Super Duet bench because Hidrau Model also claims that the 30-inch is a duet bench. However, I can tell you from personal experience, that is not as enjoyable to practice for long sessions on as this would be. The 30-inch does work. My wife is very small. I'm fairly average, and we're crammed on there pretty tight. So this gives ample room. And just to demonstrate with a silly little example, I'm right on the edge comfortably, not hanging off the edge, and I can stack 3 of these Henley Urtext books next to me. So that gives you just an idea how big 43 inches it is. Recently, my wife and daughter and I did a little Halloween trio of spooky, scary skeletons. You can watch that on Instagram, really fun with skeleton gloves. And we had to push 2 benches together. And we just tried sitting on this the other day for the first time. And my wife sat there, my little daughter sat here, and I sat here. And we still had, you know, an inch or 2 of room on both sides, which I just found pretty incredible how big this is. This is the ultimate bench for piano teachers. The reason I say that is if you have a little student sitting next to you and you want them to feel, you know, oh, feel how my hand is rotating here, they can just reach over and do that. Or if you wanted them to be at the center of the piano, but you wanted to just sit next to them, you could scoot the bench over there so you're out of their way. Pretty incredible. It spans so much of the length of the keyboard that you can comfortably play duets with them or just sit next to them while they play their normal register material without any difficulty. So the other big advantage of this is its weight capacity. So you could have 2 very heavy players playing next to each other and you wouldn't even come close to the weight capacity. It's 280 kilograms is the weight capacity on this. So I would imagine that's right around 600 pounds. One small disadvantage of this, if you even want to call it that, if you have just a very small child, I don't know why you would have a Super Duet bench if you just have one super small child taking the piano. Maybe if you're teaching as well and you have a young child, you have to have a 100-pound capacity in order to lower it. So that kind of segues nicely into the 20-inch stool, which has a slightly lower weight capacity. So young children could, as long as they weigh, I think it's 70 pounds or so, they can adjust that. This one takes a full 100 pounds to adjust downward, that mechanism. But again, how amazing is this length to be able to practice endless amounts with a duet partner and never really have any you know, you're in my space type issues. This is probably the coolest bench of all of the Hidrau Model benches, in my opinion, just because it serves so many different purposes and could be used in so many different applications. One other quick detail that I wanted to point out that you may not be able to see too clearly in this, but this pad is quite a bit thicker than the other pads. And I asked the owner of Piano Works, why is that? And he said, well, when you're stretching it across that longer form factor, they wanted to include a thicker pad. And I have to say, it's actually even more comfortable than the other benches, so just a little bit more plush of a cushion. All right, we're at the opposite end of the spectrum. This is the 20-inch, but I'm still comfortably on this bench. So if we wanted to do that same Henley test here, I could set 2 right here and then still have, you know, an inch or 2. I know that's a silly comparison. It's just 20 inches. You could get a tape measure out. But that gives you a little musical reference there. This is still plenty wide for me. And actually, one of the interesting points is some of the cheaper or less expensive benches, adjustable benches that are in the $150 to $250 range, are actually this wide. This might seem extremely tiny compared to the others, but a lot of them are this wide. And with the lower center of gravity, these legs are heavy legs, you're going to still get a lot of sturdiness. Now, if you really rock back and forth, it's not going to be as sturdy as 2 dedicated legs in the 26 or the 30 inch bench, and certainly not the Super Duet. You're not going to be able to rock that thing around at all. However, I've played comfortably on this, and I'm just on a lav mic, so I don't really want to play and distort the heck out of this, but I'm not feeling unstable whatsoever as I play that. The reason some of those real fancy benches have to have that thick and wide of material is they have a very high center of gravity. Those legs, those wooden legs, weigh almost nothing. So if I go to stand up really quickly on a very flimsy bench, that bench might fall over. Whereas when I go to stand up here, I can push off really hard, and if I really push forward, I can get the bench to do that. But if I'm just standing up and sitting down normally, it doesn't wobble. One other thing that I wanted to mention is that these benches are definitely built to last. So you may upgrade your instrument, but you're not going to need to upgrade these benches. Again, if you want a more standardized bench, get the 26 or the 30 inch. The 30 inch is pretty comfortable. I'd probably go with that one if you only had to buy one and you're just doing solo. If you're going to be doing any type of duets or teaching, I would absolutely spring for the 43 inch. But if you need a space saver or something that's extremely portable, I do think the 20 inch definitely fills a niche purpose in there, and it's also the least expensive. That's another big selling point, is you can get these benches for way less than the Super Duet bench, for instance. So it's really dependent on what your needs are. On that note, PianoWorks is running a sale right now. Today, the day that this is going to release should be November 12th, and they're going to be running that through the end of this month. The year is 2020, in case you're seeing this next year or something. So they will be running a sale, a special Black Friday sale through the end of this month. However, if you're seeing this after the end of this month, you can still get a discount by using the code in the description below. Those codes may change during this Black Friday sale, and then I'll change it to their standard discount for my audience. Big thanks again to Sam and Derek at PianoWorks. If any of you have any questions, my email is josh@joshwrightpiano.com. I'll go ahead also and leave a few links in the description below. One of them is for a free webinar if you're wanting to take your skills to a little higher level with 10 of my favorite practice tips. I use those every day in my teaching and in my own practice. I'll leave a few links to my paid courses, as well as a link to the kit, all of the gear that I use to film these videos. Have a great week. Good luck in your practice sessions.